Hi, welcome back. In the dusty corners of old collections and forgotten drawers lie tiny silver discs that today are worth hundreds, even thousands of dollars. First up, our journey begins in the year 1972. What if I told you that a simple 5-cent coin from your childhood might secretly be a rare treasure? Stay with me because by the end of this video, you might want to check your own change jar. Australia's 5-cent coin, so small, so ordinary, yet behind its simple design lies a rich and surprising story of rarity, history and fortune. Today we embark on a deep journey into 10 of Australia's most captivating old 5-cent coins that have transformed ordinary pocket change into objects of desire for collectors worldwide. The world was a very different place back then. Australia was still adapting to the decimal currency system introduced just 6 years earlier. In 1966, the 5-cent coin, modelled closely on the old pre-decimal shilling, was already a familiar sight in everyday life. But in 1972, something unusual happened at the Royal Australian Mint in Canberra. That year, far fewer 5-cent coins were produced. Only 8.3 million were struck. Compared to the usual production numbers, which often exceeded tens or even hundreds of millions. This low mintage year made the 1972 5-cent coin a quiet rarity. It circulated alongside its common brothers unnoticed for decades. The average Australian, tossing a 5-cent coin into a shop counter, had no idea that some of these tiny coins were destined to become numismatic gems. The coin itself features the familiar reverse design by Stuart Devlin, the spiny echidna, an Australian native monotreme, curled up with its quills radiating outward, almost like the rays of a silver sun. On the obverse, of course, is Queen Elizabeth II, captured in the youthful 1966 portrait by Arnold Machen. Though visually identical to other years, it's the mintage figure that sets this coin apart. Today, finding a 1972 5-cent in circulation is virtually impossible. Most have been lost to time, worn down, melted, or forgotten. For collectors, condition is everything. A circulated 1972 5-cent in low grade might fetch between $30 to $100, far above face value already. In mid-grade circulated condition, values jump to $2,000 or even $5,000 depending on eye appeal. But in uncirculated condition, where the fields still shine and the details are crisp, values can soar. A high-grade example graded MS65 can command prices upwards of $8,000 to $9,000, while superb gem examples in MS66 or MS67 condition, which are very scarce, have sold for $15,000 or more at auction. Expert collectors often describe the 1972 5-cent as the entry-level rarity of Australian decimal coinage, affordable for new collectors, but challenging enough to make the hunt exciting. Many Australian coin albums proudly display a bright, shiny 1972 5-cent, knowing it represents patience and good fortune. But to truly understand the 5-cent coin, we must go back even further to its very beginning. Number 2. 1966 5-cent, first year issue, high grade. The year was 1966, the dawn of decimalisation in Australia. On February 14, 1966, Australians woke up to an entirely new currency system, replacing pounds, shillings and pence with dollars and cents. The 5-cent coin was born, directly replacing the old silver shilling. The 1966 5-cent coin holds a special place in history. This was the very first year of decimal coin production. And as such, many Australians today fondly recall holding these shiny new coins as children, a symbol of national change and modernity. In 1966, over 45 million 5-cent coins were struck by the Royal Australian Mint, with an additional 30 million produced by the London Mint to assist with the massive logistical rollout. The coins were made from 75% copper and 25% nickel, giving them a silvery appearance but with no actual silver content, a fact that often surprises casual collectors. While the standard 1966 5-cent isn't rare in circulated condition due to its high mintage. What makes this coin fascinating to collectors today is condition. Finding an uncirculated or mint state 1966 5-cent is significantly harder than one might expect. Many were heavily circulated, scratched, or spent decades rolling around in drawers and piggy banks. In lower circulated condition, these coins might be worth only face value or slightly above, perhaps $10 to $30 for decent examples. In higher circulated grades with minimal wear, values climb to around $100, but in uncirculated condition, especially MS65 and above, these coins can fetch $500 to $1,500. True gem examples, graded MS67 or higher, have sold for $3,000 to $6,000, depending on eye appeal and market demand. Collectors often search for coins struck by the London Mint in 1966, which can sometimes exhibit subtle differences in strike quality, although both mints produced coins to the same official design. Experts advise looking for full strikes with sharp details on the echidna's quills and Queen Elizabeth's hair and diadem. Number 3. 2007 Double Obverse 5-cent rare coin. But now we arrive at one of the most mysterious and thrilling 5-cent coins in Australian numismatics, a coin that wasn't even supposed to exist. In 2007, a rare and astonishing error occurred at the Royal Australian Mint, the creation of the Double Obverse 5-cent coin. Imagine flipping a coin and seeing heads on both sides. No reverse, no echidna, only Queen Elizabeth II staring back at you from both faces of the coin. It's real, and it's one of Australia's most famous modern era coins. The error happened when two obverse dies, meant for opposing sides of the coin, were accidentally paired in the press, instead of an obverse and a reverse die striking the blank planchet. Two obverses struck simultaneously. The result, a freak of the minting process and an instant rarity. The exact number of these double obverse coins that escaped into circulation remains unknown. Some speculate only a few dozen may exist. Others believe perhaps 100 or more slipped past quality control. What's certain is that they are incredibly hard to find, and almost all known examples have been discovered by lucky members of the public sorting through their loose change. Unlike the 1972 and 1966 coins, the double obverse era isn't about mintage, it's about survival and discovery. Many collectors spent years searching bags of 5-cent coins, hoping for the elusive doubleheads prize. When it comes to value, these coins command staggering prices compared to their 5-cent face value. A circulated example may fetch $10,000 to $15,000 depending on condition. Mid-grade examples can easily bring $16,000 to $18,000. High-grade specimens in pristine uncirculated condition have been known to sell for $20,000 or more at auction. In 2021, one particularly sharp example fetched nearly $17,000, stunning the collecting community. Numismatic experts often describe the double obverse as the holy grail of modern Australian decimal errors. Its rarity, mystery, and visual oddity make it uniquely desirable not only to Australian collectors, but to error coins specialists worldwide. What makes these coins even more fascinating is how they reflect the unpredictability of minting itself. Even with modern technology and strict quality controls, human error, or perhaps a momentary lapse, allowed this bizarre pairing to escape the mint and become legend. So the next time you see a 5-cent coin glinting in your change, take a second look, because hidden within your pocket could be a piece of Australian numismatic history. And who knows, your next coin could be worth far more than 5 cents. Number 4. 2001 Upset Die Alignment Era 5-cent. Our first stop brings us to the year 2001, a year when something very unusual happened inside the Royal Australian Mint in Canberra. That year, as millions of standard 5-cent coins were being produced, a rare and fascinating minting era quietly slipped through unnoticed, the upset die alignment era. Now, to understand why this is so remarkable, Let's take a brief journey behind the scenes into how coins are struck. Every coin is born when two hardened steel dies, one for the obverse, one for the reverse, strike a blank disc of metal, known as a planchet, with immense force. Normally, these dies are perfectly aligned, so that when you flip the coin from front to back, the designs are exactly 180 degrees opposed. That's called coin alignment. But in 2001, for a small number of 5-cent coins, something went wrong. The dies became misaligned, causing the designs on either side of the coin to be rotated from their proper position. This upset die alignment means that when you hold the coin upright and flip it over, the reverse design is askew, often by 20, 45, 75, or even a full 180 degrees. These error coins slipped into circulation quietly, discovered only by the sharp eyes of collectors and lucky members of the public. To this day, no one knows exactly how many were produced, but they remain incredibly scarce. A circulated 2001 upset die alignment 5-cent can fetch anywhere from $150 to $250, depending on the degree of rotation and condition. Coins with more dramatic misalignments, closer to 180 degrees, are far rarer and can command $3,000 to $6,000 or more. High-grade examples in uncirculated condition have sold for over $10,000 at auction, especially when certified by grading companies. Experts advise that any upset die error over 90 degrees becomes highly desirable among serious collectors, who are often willing to pay a premium for these spectacular mistakes. For collectors, the upset die alignment error represents the perfect combination of rarity, visual appeal, and mystery. Each coin is unique in its rotation, making every discovery feel like finding a one-of-a-kind treasure. Number 5. 2016 5-cent changeover commemorative. But as fascinating as these errors are, our journey doesn't stop there. Let's fast forward 15 years to 2016, a year of celebration and remembrance for Australia's rich currency history. That year marked the 50th anniversary of Australia's shift from pounds, shillings and pence to dollars and cents, the great decimal changeover of 1966. To commemorate this milestone, the Royal Australian Mint released a special changeover series, redesigning each denomination for 1 year only. The 5-cent changeover coin of 2016 holds a unique place among these commemoratives. At first glance, the 2016 changeover 5-cent resembles the standard design. Queen Elizabeth II graces the obverse. As always, her mature portrait now by Ian rank broadly. But flip the coin, and instead of the familiar echidna, you see a special commemorative design, a stylized image of the original pre-decimal halfpenny, with a ringed circle inscribed, 50 years of decimal currency, 1966 to 2016. The mintage for the 2016 changeover 5-cent was surprisingly modest by modern standards. While tens of millions were struck for circulation, far fewer have survived in pristine condition, as many were quickly absorbed into everyday use. In circulated condition, these coins are still commonly found and typically trade for face value to about $100 depending on condition. However, for collectors who seek uncirculated or proof examples, values increase substantially. Uncirculated changeover 5-cent coins can bring $500 to $1,500 depending on grade and quality, while superb gem specimens graded MS67 or higher may command $4,000 to $8,000. Special collector sets and proof strikes produced by the Mint for numismatic collectors fetch even higher prices, sometimes selling for $10,000 or more when complete. What makes the 2016 changeover coins especially appealing is their historical connection, a direct link back to the birth of decimal currency in Australia. Collectors view these coins not merely as currency, but as miniature monuments to a turning point in national identity and economics. Experts often suggest that the 2016 changeover coins may gain even greater value in the decades to come, as future generations seek tangible links to Australia's decimalisation story. For now, they remain an accessible and meaningful piece for both novice and seasoned collectors. Number 6. 2002 5-cent Offcenter strike era. And now, we arrive at one of the most dramatic eras in the entire series of Australian 5-cent coins, the Offcenter strike era of 2002. Imagine a factory machine tasked with striking thousands of coins per hour. It operates with precision, but once in a while, an imperfection occurs. The blank planchet fails to seat properly between the dies. The result, the design is stamped off-center, leaving a portion of the coin's surface blank or partially struck. The 2002 5-cent Offcenter strike era represents one of the most visually stunning types of minting mistakes. Unlike more subtle errors, these coins are immediately recognizable even to the untrained eye. The Queen's portrait may be pushed to one edge, while the echidna's face might be sliced in half or entirely missing. The degree of the off-center strike greatly affects the coin's value. Mild misalignments of 5 to 10% might bring $200 to $500 in the collector market. Moderate off-centers of 20 to 30% can easily fetch $1,000 to $2,000. But the true rarities, coins with 40% or greater off-center strikes, while still showing full or nearly full date and partial design, can command $3,000, $5,000, or even $8,000 depending on overall eye appeal. Collectors prize these coins not only for their rarity, but for their visual drama, a frozen moment of minting gone wrong. Each off-center strike is unique, like a fingerprint of the production era. No two are exactly alike, making them highly desirable for era coin specialists. Expert numismatists often caution new collectors to beware of postment-damaged coins, which can sometimes mimic off-center errors. Authentic examples will show clean, sharply struck design elements with proper edges and no signs of bending, hammering, or tampering. Third-party grading services are frequently used to certify the authenticity and grade of these valuable era coins. As we step back and reflect on these remarkable 5-cent stories, the upset die alignment of 2001, the historical changeover of 2016, and the dramatic off-center strikes of 2002, we see more than just small pieces of metal. We witness a hidden world where chance, history, and craftsmanship collide. The upset die coins remind us that even in the most controlled environments, perfection sometimes slips. The changeover coins capture the spirit of national transformation and honor the journey of a country redefining its money. And the off-center errors showcase the raw unpredictability of machines and the rare beauty born from mechanical imperfection. For collectors, each of these coins offers a different kind of treasure. Some seek the thrill of the hunt, combing through coin jars, bank bags, and pocket change in hopes of that one magical discovery. Others cherish the stories, the idea that even a tiny coin can reflect decades of history and human endeavor. Number 7. 2015 5-cent missing Obverse rim error. Let's begin our journey with one of the most mysterious and unusual minting errors ever discovered in Australian coinage, the 2015 5-cent coin with the missing Obverse rim error. At first glance, it looks like a regular 5-cent coin, featuring the familiar spiny echidna on one side, designed by the brilliant Stuart Devlin, and Queen Elizabeth II's portrait on the other, sculpted by Ian Rank Broadley. But look closer at the Queen's side of this rare era coin, something is missing. The raised rim, which is supposed to form a protective edge around the portrait, has disappeared entirely on some specimens. The result, the obverse design appears sunken, incomplete, and unusual. This is not a postment damage, nor is it caused by wear. This is a genuine minting error. The missing obverse rim occurs when the blank planchet doesn't expand fully to fill the collar die during striking, resulting in a weak or absent rim on one side. Such coins are extremely scarce, and very few have surfaced in the collector market. In circulated condition, examples of the 2015 missing obverse rim error can fetch between $100 to $200. Coins in better condition, lightly circulated or near uncirculated, can easily command prices between $3,000 and $5,000. High-grade uncirculated examples are exceedingly rare, and some specimens certified by third-party grading services have sold for well over $15,000. Experts in error coins rank this as one of the most desirable modern Australian 5-cent minting errors due to its distinctive appearance and extreme scarcity. Collectors who specialize in Australian errors know that the 2015 missing rim error isn't just another minor variety, it's a standout example of a production flaw that slipped through the mint's strict quality controls, making every surviving piece a true prize for any serious collection. Number 8. 1977 5-cent high-grade slash proof. Now, let's step back nearly 4 decades to 1977, a year when Australia was preparing for Queen Elizabeth II's Silver Jubilee, and the Royal Australian Mint was striking coins with exceptional care. While millions of regular circulation 5-cent coins were produced that year, a much smaller number were specially struck as proofs. Proof coins are not intended for circulation. They are made using highly polished dies and carefully prepared blanks, producing coins with mirror-like fields and frosted raised designs. In 1977, the Royal Australian Mint produced a limited mintage of 5-cent proof coins as part of proof sets, intended for collectors rather than everyday use. The standard 1977 5-cent in circulated condition is common and typically worth no more than face value. However, high-grade circulation strikes, those that have survived with minimal wear and full details, can fetch between $50 and $200, with gem uncirculated examples reaching $3,000 to $5,000 depending on quality. The real stars, however, are the 1977 proof 5-cent coins. With their beautiful mirror finishes and sharp details, these proofs can command values ranging from $4,000 to $10,000 for loose examples in excellent condition. Complete 1977 proof sets that include this 5-cent coin can sell for $15,000 or more, depending on their condition and presentation. Collectors often prize these proof coins not just for their beauty, but for their limited numbers and careful production. While a circulated 1977 coin might have passed through hundreds of hands, a proof coin has often been cherished in a presentation case for decades, perfectly preserving its flawless surfaces. Numismatic experts often advise that when acquiring proof coins, buyers should closely inspect for haze, milk spots or handling marks, which can affect long-term value. Number 9. 2018 5-cent, very low mintage in mint sets. From the polished perfection of 1977, we move forward to 2018, a year when the Royal Australian Mint quietly released a 5-cent coin with one of the lowest mintages in the denomination's history. The 2018 5-cent wasn't released into general circulation at all. Instead, it was only included in annual mint sets, making it remarkably scarce in the wild. Unlike most years where millions of 5-cent coins entered circulation, the 2018 issue was limited to just over 36,000 standard mint sets and around 9,000 proof sets. That's an astonishingly low total for any modern circulating denomination. Because these coins were not struck for general circulation, finding one in your pocket change is virtually impossible. Instead, collectors must seek out mint sets or hope to find loose coins that were separated from their original packaging. In terms of value, a loose uncirculated 2018 5-cent from a mint set typically sells for $100 to $200. Proof examples command higher premiums, often selling for $3,000 to $6,000 individually. Complete 2018 proof sets that include this rare 5-cent coin can fetch $12,500 to $13,500 or more, especially if still sealed and pristine. Expert collectors often speculate that the 2018 5-cent may become even more valuable in future decades, as fewer collectors recognize its rarity today. Its tiny mintage has made it one of the sleeper keys in modern Australian decimal coinage, a hidden treasure that many overlook simply because it never entered circulation. Number 10. 1981 5-cent Canadian Mint Strike Variety. And now we reach one of the most fascinating chapters in Australian 5-cent history, one that stretches across the globe to Canada. In 1981, due to high production demands, Australia contracted part of its coin production to the Royal Canadian Mint in Winnipeg. The result was millions of Australian 5-cent coins struck in Canada, but intended for Australian circulation. While most 1981 coins produced in Canada were indistinguishable from those struck in Canberra, sharp-eyed collectors eventually noticed subtle differences. The most well-known Canadian strike variety features a distinctively flat-topped numeral 5 on the reverse, along with minor design variations in the echidna's quills and the Queen's portrait, which reflect differences in die preparation. The exact number of Canadian minted 1981 5-cent coins remains uncertain, but estimates suggest tens of millions were produced. While common in circulated grades, finding sharp, high-grade examples with full details can be a challenge due to the softer strike quality typical of the Canadian Mint that year. In circulated condition, most 1981 5-cent coins, including Canadian strikes, are worth face value. However, identified Canadian varieties in choice uncirculated condition can bring $100 to $120 or more. Certified MS-65 or higher examples, especially those clearly attributed as Canadian strikes, can command $7,000 to $8,000, depending on market demand. Experts suggest that these Canadian strike varieties represent a fascinating chapter in the history of Australia's decimal coinage, a reminder of international cooperation, production challenges, and the subtle art of identifying die variations. Collectors who specialize in Australian decimal coins often enjoy the hunt for these Canadian varieties, using magnifying glasses to examine the 5, the echidna's features, and Queen Elizabeth's portrait details to confirm Canadian origin. And so, as we step back from these tiny coins, we realize once again that even the smallest and most common denominations can hide extraordinary stories. The 2015 missing Obverse rim error shows us how minting flaws create rare and valuable oddities. The 1977 proof coins shine with numismatic beauty, frozen in flawless condition. The 2018 low mintage issue reminds us that scarcity sometimes happens quietly, without fanfare, and the 1981 Canadian strike variety takes us on a journey across continents, linking two great nations through a single humble coin. For collectors, each of these 5-cent coins offers more than just metal and monetary value. They offer a piece of history, a spark of mystery, and the thrill of the hunt. They remind us that sometimes true treasures are hiding in plain sight, if only we know where to look. And who knows, the next time you glance at a small 5-cent coin in your hand, you might just be holding one of Australia's most fascinating numismatic secrets. If you enjoyed this deep dive into Australia's rarest and most intriguing 5-cent coins, don't forget to like this video, subscribe for more coin stories, and ring the bell so you never miss a single discovery. Until next time, happy collecting, and may your next coin be a treasure.